Hello and welcome back to another video on the Aerosoft Move channel. Today we're joined by Niklas of PEDEPE, the developing team behind CityBus Manager, and we're going to talk about CityBus Manager today and how things are looking right now, and we got some exciting news for you, so stay tuned for that. But firstly, hi Niklas.
Hey Julian.
Right, so before we start off with the amazing news that we got for you today, why don't we quickly explain what CityBus Manager is for all the people? I mean, most of you will probably know the game already, but for some that might join in that haven't heard of the game yet or haven't played it yet, let's just quickly explain it to those people.
So the City Bus Manager is a tycoon game where you build up your own bus company. The highlight is the OpenStreetMap map, so you can play in every city worldwide and can build up your own line network there. In the depot you can buy your buses, you can see your employees, and you have to make sure that everything runs correctly and build up your empire.
Yeah, right. Just that quick summary, I think that explains it. And if you want to check out the game, the Steam link is in the description, of course. But now coming to the great news that we have for the fans, especially. What's up for the title? What's the upcoming news? Can you talk a bit about that?
So we're happy to announce that we are going into the full release on 25th of June this year. We've developed the game in the early access now for more than 1.5 years. At this time we've released 16 big updates with many new features, a lot of fixes and improvements. In this time we've fixed more than 4,000 of the F1 reports which you have sent to us. And now, after this amazing early access, we thought that it's time for the game to go into full release, as it's in a very good state now.
Yeah, amazing news. I think a lot of people will look forward to that. But that's not all. I mean, besides the full release, there's a lot of content planned. Can you talk about that a little?
Yes, the full release will be a big update with many new features. You've probably already seen in the main menu in the feature suggestions that we will add new statistics to the game, so you can see much better many key facts of the company, how it is running, and you have a much better overview. Additionally, there will be ticket inspectors in the game, so that's a new kind of employees, and they will be going to your buses and check the tickets of the people and make sure that everything is correct. And the third new feature, which we haven't announced yet, are the scenarios. That's a completely new game mode in the game, and we will show you that now. Therefore, we've prepared a live demo for you, and you can already see that the current game mode, which was in the game, is now called Free Play, and the scenarios is on top of that. So basically, what is a scenario? It's a way to customize the game completely, and it also adds new goals to the game so that it will be even more challenging or will offer more variety to the game. Therefore, we have different possibilities. We will deliver some official scenarios to the game which you can try to solve. We will have workshop scenarios, so you can also share them with the community or download them from the community. And you can of course create your own scenarios. Therefore we have two different possibilities. You can either create a completely new one, or you can also take a save game of you and generate a new scenario based on it. So if you would like to keep your routes or your company premises, that's also possible. I'll just show it now to create a completely new one based here in Constance. And once we started it, we are basically again in the game, and we first choose our depot. And now new is the scenario editor, where you can customize everything completely. So you can choose a name and a description. There you can get creative to make a story behind the scenario. And you can also set up here the starting values, like the seed capital to start with. If the researchers should be unlocked immediately, if the shift schedule should be unlocked immediately. Then here it's also possible now that the buses are unlocked by year of construction. That has been something that we've heard a lot from the community, so that's also possible now. You can limit the maximum number of external depots, And you can also choose if it should be possible to change the upcoming settings, which I will show you in a minute, during the game, so that you can even customize the game while playing. So that's about these settings here. We have a lot of sliders here, beginning with the passenger volume. That's something which we've heard a lot, that people would like to have more control about how many passengers they have in their save games. So that can be completely changed. You can also change the number of service center customers and also customize the frequency of the random events. Therefore, it's even possible to change the frequency for every single event. So for example, if you don't like an event at all, you can disable it completely. Or what we've also heard before, that some people would also like to just have rail replacement services, for example. Then you can also make them very often, that they occur several times per day. And you can, for example, make a scenario where you just run rail replacement services. Additionally, you can change the subsidies, how often the buses should break down, the expectations of employees. That means if you have higher expectations, you have to pay them more, and they aren't so happy if they have to work too much. Additionally, you can change how much dirt is caused by passengers, and you have also an influence about the expectations of passengers. That means if they are more critical, it will be way harder to get a 5-star rating. So also for experts in this game, they will have a new challenge with this option. Now we can also customize the buses of the scenarios. Therefore, you can choose which buses should be included. We've heard a lot that people would like to have specific buses depending on the city they are playing in. So for example, if you're playing in London, you could just enable buses which are driving there in real life, and then you will only have these buses in a scenario, and also in the research you will just unlock these buses and all other buses are completely ignored. Now, one of the main points are the goals. Therefore, we have a lot of goals which you can choose from. For example, you can say a specific company rating has to be reached, or decoration rating, network coverage, number of buses, employees, tickets. So we have a lot of things which you can choose from. So for example, we can take the network coverage, and now we can say for which medal you need which goal. So for example, we can say for this one you have to reach 10% network coverage, for the silver one you have to reach 50%, and for the gold one like 90%. And additionally, you also have optionally the possibility to limit the time in which this has to be reached. So for example, we can say this has to be reached in 30 days, then the user only unlocks the gold medal if he reaches the 90% network coverage in 30 days. You also have the possibility to combine the different goals, and so you can completely customize the goals for your scenario. Once you've set up everything, you would of course like to save and publish it. There you also have a lot of possibilities to customize it. You can choose what exactly should be included, like employees, vehicles, ratings, and you can even choose if the company premises and the starting location should be included. So for example, we got some feedback from people that they don't want to build up the company premises every time they start a new city. They could, for example, now create a new company premise here in the scenario editor, just check the include company premises, keep location can be disabled, save the scenario, and then every time the scenario is started, you can choose a new location and you will have everything of the company premises and don't have to rebuild it every time. If you decide to keep the location, you can choose if you would like to keep the depots, bus stops, routes, statistics and everything. So for example, it's also possible if you've built up the whole network of London, for example, you can say I would just like to keep the location and include all my bus stops and routes, and then share it in the Steam Workshop so other people can play in the same city and they already have everything you've built up, but they can start with a completely new depot. Yes, and at the end you can just decide would you like to save it locally or share it with everyone and upload it to the Steam Workshop. So that's all about the scenarios.
So a lot of new content, a lot of new possibilities for both new players and also very experienced players. And we love to hear what you think about that once the first scenarios are uploaded. And what are you currently working on? So what's on your mind right now, and what can the players expect in the future?
So it's important for us that the game isn't at the end once the early access is finished. We still have plans for after the early access, and we want to keep the game alive. Therefore, we have 4 ways on how we would like to reach that. The first one, we will offer free content updates with new features and bug fixes. They won't be so often as during the early access, of course, but it's important for us that there will still be new features in the game. The second one, we will do map updates, as we have already announced. So if you make changes directly in OpenStreetMap, they will also be included in the game in the future, and the better data gets into the game. The third one, there will of course be future modding content. Therefore, we now have the scenarios, which will give more possibilities for content, and it's also important for us that we actively support the modding community. We will do modding contests in the future again, so there should also be a lot of new things. And the fourth one, we have also planned some paid DLCs, but we will give you more information about that in the future.
So a lot of good news, a lot of things you can look forward to. And I think that actually answers a lot of the questions the community has regarding the full release. And we're looking forward to your feedback and your comments. And thank you, Niklas, for joining me and answering a lot of the questions. And I think that's about it. We wish you a nice day, and we see you all in the next video.